The nearly 4 dozen angry emails sent to the athletic director and chancellor in the immediate aftermath in the June 30th announcement largely decried the move, sometimes less than politely, as a short-sighted, tradition-ignoring money grab. I will let all 48 of those people know. Welcome to conference realignment. What is up, everybody? It is Jake with Master of Football, back at it again. Happy Thursday. Thank you so much for being here. If you want to be up to date on all things college football, EA college football, pro football, Madden, anything related to American football, hit that red subscribe button. You will not be disappointed. Won't cost you anything. All it's going to cost you is being up to date on all of those things I just mentioned. Anything related to football, you'll love it. Hit the red subscribe button. Also hit the like button too. Without further ado, let's get into the video. All right, guys, so here we are. We are a couple of days before the start of bowl season. I love bowl season. I'm in a bowl pick'em league. Everything's cool like that. However, we got a meeting that was yesterday that was incredibly important happening for me today right now. But it was incredibly important for the next steps of conference realignment. I made a video a couple of days ago that basically said that the Cold War, in essence, right now, we're kind of in a Cold War of conference realignment. Everything's kind of sitting still right now. But you can see the fact that it was starting to heat up. There was one last thing that had to happen. It was a meeting from the UC Regents over UCLA's move. UCLA and USC announced the move to the Big Ten as of the start of the 2024 season. However, the UC system and their Regents wanted to discuss this really quickly here because not only were they not so sure about it, but weirdly, UCLA to the Big Ten has gotten a lot of pushback. Here we are from the New York Times. As Regents ready UCLA decision, emails show little public support. Emails obtained through a records request show backlash to UCLA's planned move to the Big Ten among alumni and parents. From Billy Witz here, it says that, Brian Birkenstein, class of 1996, who did not miss a home football game as a student. I'm glad my father did not live to see this. This move just screams of a hypocritical values that UCLA evidently has, wrote Eugene Shang, class of 1988, who added that he would no longer be a fan, a donor, or an advocate. I graduated from UCLA 50 years ago and have never been ashamed of my alma mater until today, wrote Jerry Macy's, class of 1972. It was as much the same for the inbox of Chancellor Gene D. Block. It feels like the chasm between student and athlete just got even wider. Tal Johnson, a UCLA parent, wrote to the chancellor, legacy and geography and the relationship with the alums is more important, in my view, than TV money, wrote Sean J. Mulville, a physician who did his residency at UCLA. The nearly 4 dozen angry emails sent to the athletic director and chancellor in the immediate aftermath in the June 30th announcement largely decried the move, sometimes less than politely, as a short-sighted, tradition-ignoring money grab. I will let all 48 of those people know. Welcome to conference realignment. Because the UC Regents, they took all that in stride, and they basically said, we're going to accept it. Now, there were a couple interesting stipulations in here, and you can see the fact that UC system, remember, UC Santa Barbara, UC California, or UC Berkeley, UCLA. UC Berkeley and LA are the two big ones out there. That rivalry is going to be going away more than likely. But you see the fact here that they have a couple conditions here. So with this move, it basically says that UCLA is heading to the Big Ten after receiving approval from the UC Regents Wednesday, but the approval comes with stipulations. As a part of the board's decision, and again, this is very interesting here, UCLA will have to increase its expected investment in its student-athlete resources and might have to provide a subsidy to the University of California, Berkeley in the range of $2 to $10 million once a Pac-12 media deal is secured, depending upon the amount of the deal. A UCOP spokesperson said the frequency of the subsidy to UC Berkeley is yet to be determined. And again, that doesn't mean it's going to be a one-time thing. It's going to be a per media deal thing. I don't know what the answer is to that question. But again, they are basically saying that $2 to $10 million, depending upon a couple factors, don't really know what those are. It might be a subsidy from UCLA to UC Berkeley. Because remember, UCLA is going to get a lot more money here. The board included other conditions for UCLA to address the impact of the move on athletes, including funds for academic support, nutritional support, and mental health services. According to the letter to the Regents, a subsidy to UC Berkeley would be to enhance student-athlete support on that campus. Berkeley really took a hit by UCLA leaving. Lieb said they suffered quite a bit. We don't know how much, but we felt it was important that we somehow make Berkeley, maybe not the whole, but at least help them in that situation. And again, this article also indicates the fact that there were a lot of people that did not like this. The move to the to Big Ten had its detractors, including UCLA alum Bill Walton and National College Players Association, run by former UCLA running back Ramogi Huma, came out against the realignment this week, citing the effect and the extra travel would have on students' academics and mental health. UC Berkeley Chancellor Carol Chris also voiced her dissent, saying the move would further a professionalization of college athletics. It's already there. I'm just saying it's already there. It doesn't matter what you say or not. It's already going to happen. And again, I'm basically saying that here, you can see the fact that there was a lot of, kerfuffle about this whole situation, that the fact that, unfortunately, this is what has been happening in conference realignment the entire time. So I think the big one that set this off was Texas and Oklahoma to the SEC. The Big Ten was looking out there. They can't go from the ACC. It's hard to pull from the SEC. The Big 12 isn't exactly what they want to pull from. The Big 12 minus Texas and Oklahoma. The only teams that really made sense were the LA teams. LA Flies directed most of the places in the East Coast. Again, there's a couple sports that's going to hit pretty hard, midweek baseball, things like that. For the most part, football is going to be fine. I mean, instead of a 3-hour flight, it's going to be a 4 or 5 hour flight, something like that. So there's going to be some impact there. But for the most part, again, you talk about this, financial plans, academic support, mental health services, this and that. They're going to have so much more money to do that because of how much money they get from the deal. So it says we actually added to it. So altogether, we have about between 11 and 12 million of enhancements. The official number is a range between 11.03 and $12.2 million. For anybody out there who is shocked or like, oh, I don't understand why they would do this, I think that a lot of people don't understand the situation at hand. UCLA, which has been plagued by $62.5 million in debt, according to the LA Times, has said it would be in line to earn up to $70 million annually in media rights and the subsequent exposure from the move to the Big Ten. Now, that is a lot of money there. And again, George Kliavkoff says, oh, we have to wait. He said this actually held up a little bit of conference realignment because UCLA agreed to the move, and then after that, whatever their decision was, George Kliavkoff and the Pac-12 deal would be decided at that point. Speaking in Las Vegas last week, Pac-12 Commissioner George Kliavkoff said the conference would await the Regents' decision before further pursuing a media deal. The Pac-12 is the only conference without a deal, and the Kliavkoff repeatedly expressed optimism in getting a lucrative deal done in the first quarter of 2023, which would be followed, according to Kliavkoff, by exploring expansion. And again, San Diego State was strongly mentioned here. I also think San Diego State, in addition to SMU's one to watch too, SMU's available out there in Dallas. Dallas Flies direct to most of the places in the Pac-12 region. So I think that those are two teams to watch there. Obviously, I'm a Boise State fan. I wish they would get the invite. I don't think it's going to happen. But you can see the fact that expansion and this and that, a lot of those falling items from there, they all are going to be moving now, because once this happened, then the Pac-12 deal is going to happen, and then from there we're going to see some movement. But this move, and again, I wanted to make sure we looked at that, because George Kliavkoff had the statement that he said that this move is not going to give them nearly as much money as they think. They're actually going to lose money. Well, somebody actually looked into that. Here we are from buffzone.com. Would UCLA really be worse off financially in the Big Ten? The Pac-12 commissioner thinks so. We plunged into the numbers, and this is by John Wilner, a very respected Bay Area news guy. And he comes through and they break it down. They do a really, really good job. I'm going to include this in the description here. You kind of see this. Kind of gives the basic breakdowns of they'll receive $70 million. The new Pac-12 deal without UCLA would be $35 to $40 million. Well, actually, let's just say if they were included. But you come down here and it breaks down a couple different things, the different outcomes and this and that. I want to get down here to the bottom because they do a really, really good, really thorough job talking about airfare and administrative costs and this and that and blah, 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 blah. Come down here and it kind of gives you that view. The most reasonable scenario suggests that UCLA's revenue bump in the Big Ten as compared to staying in the Pac-12 works out to an additional $10 million to $12 million annually. That is not, I don't think that is including the $2 to $10 million payment they have to UC Berkeley to kind of even things out. But either way, this is a program that is in a lot of debt. They needed as much money as they can. They want more exposure. They're going to get it by going to the Big Ten. They win all around, despite all of the reactionism you see online. And again, you saw before that UCLA's former running back Ramogi Huma, he is the National College Players Association. He's kind of like the players' rights group. He said that he wanted them to oppose the move. And some of these reasons are a little rich. That's all we're going to say. And some of them are fair that have already kind of been addressed based on the move. So it says a couple things here. One of the things that's going to happen is academic harm. The academic harm comes from the fact they're going to be traveling that much more. They have a couple things in here. As an example, they have a couple surveys where basically says that people's mental health is going to be worse. The racial exploitation is kind of tough. I believe their racial exploitation is because this move will reduce the ability of UCLA athletes' family members to attend games. Most players on these teams are black. I'm assuming that's the angle they're going at, because I didn't see race pop up here throughout the rest of this stuff at all. However, I'm going to make sure that we're addressing the situation here. The Pac-12 media deal, most teams, most players' families can't necessarily travel to all their games. If you're an LA player, you can't go to Alabama games if you're Bryce Young's family. I don't know what the situation there is, but I do know that most of the time you watch them on TV. However, the Pac-12 media deal has prevented that because they don't have a deal with DirecTV. They're going to be on the Big Ten. They're going to be on Fox. They're going to be just fine. All the players will have plenty of access to see their players. Maybe not in person, but I don't think that's going to be a big issue there. It also addresses a couple of things here. Selling out athletic access for TV dollars only benefits a few. This is amazing. We're going to come in here and check out one of the quotes they have here. One of the quotes they have here is that despite UCLA's dramatically escalating athletic revenues, UCLA submitted reports to the U.S. Department of Education showing athletic revenues and athletic expenses were exactly the same over the last 10 years, i.e. $66 million in revenue and $66 million in expenses in 2010, and then 110 in revenue and 110 in expenses in 2020. Now, I don't know. I haven't broke that down. I do know that UCLA is a non-for-profit association, so I'm assuming that if they have the ability to spend more money, they do. Again, I may be wrong. Okay, the NCPA, I understand, but I'm telling you right now, I think that not all money is good money. Well, unfortunately, I do think there's one aspect that they're not. This is a short-sighted view, I think, on this perspective. This article right here, this letter that Ramogi Huma sent to the Regents, he says that this move to the Big Ten was short-sighted for UCLA. I think that his outrage is short-sighted for the players in the long run. Yes, there's going to be some more travel costs, but there's one big factor that's going to absolutely benefit UCLA players a lot. And that would be name, image, and likeness deals. So right now, UCLA is a big brand, not as big as USC, but you see the fact you come down here and check out what they have. So UCLA football, DTR has Friends Over Fans, Cameo Candy, and V Moda. Chase Griffin, quarterback, has Degree deodorant, Shell, Boost Mobile, things like that. So there's a couple different things here with that. I would suspect that with the addition of them moving from UCLA and USC to the Big Ten, they're going to be playing in New York. They're going to be playing in LA. They're going to be playing in Chicago. They're going to be playing in, DC. They're going to be playing in Columbus. They're going to be playing outside of Detroit. I know that, Ann Arbor is not exactly in Detroit, but it's just outside of Detroit. So what I'm basically saying, though, is that they're going to have plenty of big city access. Kevin Warren has done a really good job of cornering those big cities. So big cities, big networks, people on the TV a lot more often than the Pac-12 network. I think that these football players, they might be hurt in some of the travel instances, but I think they're going to make a lot more money too. Again, I know there's a lot of madness about this. There's a lot of craziness out there, but I think that in the long run, I think that people say that this is a short-term move. I actually think this is a long-term move, okay? You're going to join that conference, and that doesn't matter if the conference gets to 20 members. They add in, Stanford and Cal and Washington and Oregon, and then all of a sudden those road trips get a little bit shorter, get a little bit easier. I think that, unfortunately, people say the professionalization of sports, I think that's already happened. Okay, there's a reason why people keep on watching these sports. The money keeps on going up. There's a reason why Bryce Young gets like $4 million a year in NIL deals. So you can't avoid that. UCLA is doing the best fiduciary responsibility for their school and again for their players too in the long run with those NIL deals they're going to get. I'm guarantee you that is more than going to make up for that. And now we also enter into an interesting situation right now. Okay, UCLA is going to go to the Big Ten. The Pac-12 is now working through the media rights deal. They only have 10 teams. What do they want to do? Do they want to bring in some teams from the Big 12? I know that the Big 12 is like, oh, how dare you? The Big 12 thinks they can get some Pac-12 teams. I think that both those conferences are just, it's not going to happen. Okay, you're not going to be able to take from the other one unless the Big 10 comes for one of your remaining schools. I'm telling you, it's not going to happen. Nobody from the Pac-12 right now is going to go to the Big 12. Nobody from the Big 12 is going to go to the Pac-12. It's over. Stop talking. I don't want to hear it. Now, within that, I do think if the Big Ten comes for a couple of teams, the SEC comes for some teams in Kansas or this and that. I'm just throwing that out there. That would be the next move in conference realignment. Personally, I think what's going to happen is we have a little bit of a hold here. The highest probability of getting picked off from the G5 is going to be San Diego State, Southern California market. A lot of people out there in the West Coast want to have it out there. It would be an interesting situation with combining a Cal State system with a UC system, UC Berkeley, Cal State. That would be interesting. There's a couple other schools that have been named that have kind of been cooled off. I want to say, Boise State is one of those teams. My boys, Memphis is kind of cooled off. SMU is kind of cooled off. South Florida is definitely cooled off. So we're going to see what happens there. I know Gonzaga has been mentioned to the Big 12, things like that, to kind of corner the basketball market. But there's no real obvious moves at this point. That being said, I would say once our dear friend Kevin Warren comes for Washington, Oregon, Stanford, and Cal, all bets are off at that point. Then it's going to be all over again. But for right now, I don't see very many obvious moves. Again, I want you guys to get in the comments right now. Do you guys see any obvious moves in conference realignment? I don't really see any, but I do know that things will get moving. We might hit a little bit of a stall here, but again, we are progressing forward because the UC Regents have realized that UCLA to the Big Ten is the right move. All right, guys, that's it. Thank you so much for being here. Please like, share, comment, subscribe, do all that stuff. I appreciate it. That's it for me, guys. I am out.